Hello, hello! I made a tier list video for 2.4, I believe, but that was a while ago now. Quite a while back, actually. And so my opinions on characters have actually kinda changed quite a bit, especially with the introduction of new characters like Yae. So I thought it would be fun to go back and give my updated opinions on characters. Real quick disclaimer, this is of course just my opinion. It's totally fine for you to disagree strongly with what I'm gonna say, because I have some hot takes. Also, this is gonna be based on my experience with characters, and I don't have all of my 4 stars at C6, there's some characters I only have 1 copy of, some I only have 2, but I do have a lot of the characters at C6, at least 4 stars. And while I have spent $500 on this game at this point, I don't have every 5-star character, and so there might just be things that I don't know about characters like Ayaka, or Yoimiya, or Childe. Last thing, I had some questions in the comments on my last one asking like, is this based on performance in game? Is it based on appearance or what? And to answer that question, my tier lists, they're very general. Honestly, how much of a character's rating comes from their appearance, or gameplay, or character design, or like even just their voice, is gonna vary from character to character. It's really just based on my experience with the game. So I mean, like, don't use this as a guide for which characters are actually good, because that's not what this is meant to be. Anyway, let me introduce you to my patented tier list ranking system. At the very top, at S equivalent, is Tip Top Tier. I love alliteration, and so I had to go with that name. Our A equivalent is gonna be Nice! At B, we have Smile Tier. C is Meh. And in my opinion, a tier list isn't really a tier list without a piss tier. So, yeah. And then at the very bottom, our F tier equivalent is called I Will Cry, because I will legitimately cry if I get one more copy of this stupid character. And now without further ado, let's get into this. So I already took a look at the list of characters that they have in this tier list, and I cannot find the Traveler, either one of them. So I'm just gonna give my opinions on those really quick before we start actually ranking all these characters, because I despise the Anemo Traveler. It's worse than any Anemo character except for maybe Sayu, and even Sayu brings a lot of fun value with her ability to roll around at high speeds. The Traveler's Geo kit is a bit better. I think it falls in line better with the other Geo characters than the Anemo kit does with the other Anemo characters, but the Geo Burst is so annoying. The only team that I ever use it in is Noelle comps, and I so often find myself getting stuck on weird invisible geometry around the edges of those rocks and stuff. So it really just peeves me off. And the Electro kit, I actually like, surprisingly. You could say it's shockingly good. It's really niche. There's not a lot of characters who need more energy recharge temporarily added onto them, but specifically with Arataki Itto, I've found that I'm able to have my burst up on cooldown more consistently using Electro Traveler, Zhongli, and Bennett than any comp that includes Gorou at all. And now to the real content. Albedo. I'm not the biggest Albedo fan. He's definitely improved a lot since he first released, and I would like to pick one up, if not for my Itto, then for my Xiao team. But unfortunately, his banners have not lined up well for me, because I had to skip his first one to try and wish for Ganyu, which didn't even go well for me, and then I had to skip his rerun to get Itto, and I had to get Itto. But he is the best Geo battery as far as C0 5 stars go, at least, so I'm gonna have to put him in Smile tier. He can provide a lot of off-field damage, and while his character design is kind of boring to me, his character story is actually really, really interesting. Aloy blows. Aloy sucks. I hate this character. I hate her so much. She will never have constellations that make her better. The only defense I've heard for this character is that she generates a lot of particles with her E. And you know who else does that? Diona. Diona with the shorter cooldown on her E, as well as the ability to shield and heal. So Aloy goes straight into piss tier. I'm not sorry. Amber. I'm not entirely sure where to put Amber. She's genuinely one of the lowest value characters in the game, especially since you can't even easily get constellations for her. Not that they improve her much. She just kinda generally sucks, but there is one thing that I really like about Amber. She's a pyro bow user that is free. So if you have a Raiden, you can overload from far, far away, turning her into sort of a budget Ganyu if you don't have Ganyu. In fact, I even grinded an entire Thundering Fury Elemental Mastery set for my Raiden that gets her up to like 800 Elemental Mastery, and I can overload for like 20k from far, far away. That being said, it's not enough to bump her out of piss tier, because now I actually have Ganyu, and Ganyu's just such an improvement over budget Ganyu. Ayaka. If I'm being entirely transparent, I really don't like the way this character looks. I don't even really like the way she acts or sounds, and I'm not all that impressed by her animations or anything. I'm gonna put her in meh, because her burst is incredible. One of the best burst abilities in the game, and she's super valuable for freeze comps. So I would really like to pick a copy up in the future, since she's really good at C0. I just don't like her as a character, so she's gonna be our first meh tier. Barbara has been the target of a lot of hate from the Genshin community from day one, because back at the beginning of the game, when we were leading up to Dragonspine, and then Dragonspine was our newest area for a long time, we were facing a lot of cryo enemies, but that's just not really as much of an issue anymore. And so the fact that Barbara's E applies Hydro to your character on field, and since Corrosion got added to the game, I genuinely think she is one of the best healer options in the game. She just does her job so well. She uses very little field time to do most of her healing, and if you really, really need healing, you can get a ton just by using her E and spamming her auto attacks. Plus, with the ocean-hued clam set or whatever, she can actually kick out like 20k damage every, I think it's 4 seconds-ish. That's not bad. For the last like 6 Abyss resets, one of my 2 teams has been Raiden, Sara, Xingqiu, and Barbara, because I can keep Barbara's ult up on cooldown for whenever I need it. It's just great. I genuinely think she's underrated and underappreciated, and I'm putting her in tip-top tier. I'm not the biggest fan of her character design, but she's just such a good healer that I think she deserves this spot. Beidou. I'm just gonna put Beidou in nice. This is our A equivalent. I feel like, you know, I couldn't put her any lower than this, but I just don't use her enough to justify putting her in tip-top tier. Her burst ability is one of the highest damaging burst abilities in the game at C2, since it's able to chain to multiple enemies, and now that I have her at C6, I think I'm probably gonna be using her a lot more. On top of that, she's just got an awesome personality and awesome design, and I love her. Bennett is probably the most useful character in the game, bar none, except for maybe Zhongli. His attack boost is useful on pretty much every character in the game if you're trying to do damage. Even Itto benefits more from Bennett than he possibly could from a Gorou that's below C4. But the thing about Bennett is I absolutely hate the way he looks. I hate his outfit, I hate his stupid little goggles, I hate his useless belts that just hang off of his clothes. You know, he looks like something out of a Final Fantasy game or Kingdom Hearts, and if I wanted to play a game where characters look like this, I would play one of those, not Genshin. So while he's super valuable, everyone realizes he's insanely valuable, and I can't put him higher than Smile tier just because of how dumb he looks. He's just so dopey. Chongyun. I have Chongyun at C6, and maybe there's something that I'm missing, perhaps a certain cryo character that came out in 2.4, but I just don't really get him. I can't get him to do all that much damage, and I mean, now that I have Ganyu, I have no reason to ever use Chongyun, and I'm putting him in meh. Because while he is useful for some things, I'm just probably never gonna have him on my team again. Overall, I don't really have anything against this character, but he doesn't really bring any value to my account, and so I'm gonna put him in meh. Actually, I can't have Ayaka on the same tier as Chongyun. I like Ayaka more than Chongyun, even though I hate her design. Diluc. Diluc is not bad. I don't think he'll ever be a bad character, but his bird is annoying, and I will never forgive him. I lost my Ganyu 50-50 to Diluc, and I will never forgive him. If I get one more copy of this stupid red-haired bitch, I will cry in real life, actually. Diona was previously in my tip-top tier, I believe, because I love cats, I love pink, she has pink hair, she's just a super valuable cryo support, but because of a certain character's introduction, purely having pink hair isn't enough to keep her in this tier. Now that I'm using Barbara more often, I really don't use Diona as much, and so I'm gonna put her in nice tier. Eula. Eula was also in my tip-top tier last time because she's aesthetically one of my top 4 characters in the game, but she just, the more I play this game, the worse my Eula gets. I don't know how, but every time I put her on my team, I feel like she does less damage. Especially since I have Raiden at C3, I wished for Raiden. In fact, I saved from Eula to Raiden because I wanted someone to make my Eula better. And then Raiden just completely outclassed Eula. So I'm not gonna put her above nice. I love the way she looks. Definitely one of the best looking characters in the game in my opinion. As well as having one of the funnest kits, I love just spamming claymore attacks, but I don't use her enough to justify putting her up here. Yanfei. I'm just gonna put her straight into meh tier. I don't have a single copy of this character. She is the only 4-star that I have 0 copies of. She has pink hair, but I don't know, I feel like it's more salmon-y, it's got sort of an orange tint. She looks great, and her kit, I'm sure, is fun, but even if I got one single copy of Yanfei, she wouldn't be as good as my cleat, so I'm putting her in meh. Fischl! When I started the game, I got Fischl in my first 10 pull with Venti, and I expected to like Fischl a lot, but I don't. I only got her to C6 finally on Yae's banner, and I've never really used her, and I find Oz's cooldown extremely annoying. I don't know if it's possible to get 100% uptime without using a sacrificial bow, but I just really don't like how often she literally does nothing for the team. As far as character design goes, she's pretty cool. I like the Chuni type of character that she is, but you know, as more and more amazing character designs come out in this game, she just keeps going lower and lower down the list. Ganyu. I am so happy I finally got her. I know everyone understands how valuable Ganyu is, but her charged shot is just so convenient, I find it really difficult to take her out of my party at all anymore. But, sort of a hot take, I believe. I'm not a big fan of her design. I don't really like the way she looks, acts, or sounds. But that charge shot, oh my god, and the fact that she can have 100% uptime on her burst is insane. I don't think they're ever going to make a character that broken ever again. Ganyu was a mistake and forever changed the state of the game. Gorou! I was so excited when I first saw Gorou because I thought we were getting a cat boy, and I would love nothing more in Genshin than a cat boy. But, as time went on, I found out that this is a dog boy, and I don't like dogs. Furthermore, since I was only able to pull 2 copies of Gorou, he's only at C1, so it's not like he has the other half of his kit, his healing ability, and when you have Gorou below C4, he's basically missing half of his value. Because, I mean, if his burst could just heal for a tiny bit, that would be so much more useful. But as it stands, Gorou at level 80 out of 80 with a level 8 talent can't provide a level 90 Itto with as much defense as a second defense artifact can. And so I'd rather just run Electro Traveler, Zhongli, and Bennett with my Itto. I find that I actually have better damage and more ult uptime when I'm using that team than with Gorou. Plus, I have a pretty nice defense helmet that I rolled. It's got like 7% crit rate and like 30% crit damage. It's pretty nice. This one always kinda scares me. Straight down here. I do not like Hutao. I don't like her design. I don't like the way, well, I mean, she's cute. I like the way she acts, but that young, short, small teenage girl with brown hair, Megumin aesthetic, I've never been into that. I've never understood that at all. And more than anything, I don't want to play a character that requires being at low health. I just really don't like that playstyle. I've always been more of a tank enjoyer. I like to just run in with a ton of health and slowly chip away with a big sword or a hammer or something like that. I have skipped both Hutao banners and I will continue to do so until she stops appearing. If she ever gets added to the standard banner, I'd love to lose a 50-50 and get a Hutao, but I am never ever spending one of my guarantees or something like that on Hutao. Arataki Itto is one of my favorite characters in the game, straight up here. He does have some burst uptime issues, and if you don't have Albedo, that problem becomes even more apparent. But he's just so fun. The way he just swings his club around so quickly and actually gains speed while doing so. I mean, the man throws an entire cow! An entire cow! He's just amazing. He reminds me of Kamina from Gurren Lagann. I love his punky aesthetic. Before he came out, Xingqiu was one of my favorite characters because I love her aesthetic, and they actually look pretty similar. So there's no way I could put this guy any lower than tip-top tier. Kaeya. Kaeya is an interesting one. I love this character. The way he looks, the way he acts, his entire personality is just great. That being said, he is one of the 3 characters who it's really, really difficult to get constellations for. I'm lucky enough to have him at C4 already, but I'm not gonna start using him until I get C6, so I'm putting him in meh, just because this tall, dark, and handsome bastard keeps avoiding me whenever I pull for him. Kazuha has to be the one character that I regret missing most. Kazuha's E is so much fun. It has the best crowd control in the game, I believe. It just has the strongest And, I didn't really like the way he looked at first, but honestly, my opinions completely changed. I love him, and I need a copy of him eventually. Qiqi. Qiqi just isn't very good. I've never been a big fan of the way she looks. And in fact, her constellations are so bad, I will probably cry if I pull another Qiqi. I'm being honest. Klee! I did not mean to pull a Klee. She was just the second 5-star in the game, and I was hoping to lose 50-50 to Jean. But there is a distinct possibility, since she can apply so much pyro, that she might be really good when Dendro comes out. So I'm gonna put her in meh, because I don't really like her design. I'm not into, But she definitely has a fun kit. A clunky kit, Klee puts the cl and e in clunky, but she's definitely a fun character to play every once in a while. Kokomi. I'm gonna put Kokomi in smile tier. I'd love to eventually get a Kokomi, but as it stands, she doesn't bring enough value compared to a C6 Barbara to be worth pulling for me. I've actually really been wishing that I had a Kokomi now that I'm running Yae in a mono Electro team with Barbara. I feel like Kokomi would fill Barbara's role way better in that team, but I'm probably never gonna pull for her, so I'll just have to wait a couple of years until she's added to the standard banner, I guess. Lisa. I have never been a Lisa fan, and while I have 0 characters below 50 out of 60, Lisa is probably by far my least leveled character, and I don't think I'm ever gonna play her. She's the 3rd character that it's really difficult to get constellations for, and she's just always seemed really plain to me, so I'm putting her in the piss tier. Mona. I was actually really excited to get my first copy of Mona, cause, I thought she looked really cool, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of her redesign. Now that she has the alternate outfit, I like the color scheme a little bit better. It's just a little bit less purple, a little more blue, but I've never really used her much. She just sort of takes up a slot on the team. So I'm putting her in smile tier. I think that's a good place for her to sit. Ningguang is an interesting one. I have kind of a bit to say about this character, because I love the way she looks and sounds. She honestly seems, from design alone, like a 5-star, but below C6, she just can't really output all that much damage, because, well, I mean, it might just be because that there's no really good geo set for her. I mean, she doesn't scale off defense, she's entirely attack-based, just like, the majority of characters in the game. So the new geo set hardly benefits her, and honestly, I think the best value option for Ningguang builds is the Emblem of Severed Fate set, which is really weird because she only has a 40 energy cost burst, if I remember correctly. So you don't really need the energy recharge, but if you want to get the most value out of your Ningguang for the least amount of field time, the Emblem of Severed Fate set is definitely the way to go, because most of her damage below C6 is going to be coming from her burst. I'm not really sure where to put her though. I think she'll be a good meh tier. Noelle? I honestly think Noelle is really good now. She's a little bit lacking in the crit stat department just because she doesn't scale with it. But with the new Geo set, the Redhorn Stone Thresher, and Gorou, she can deal a lot of damage. And in fact, at C6, her burst can last 10 seconds longer than the cooldown. So Itto's biggest issue isn't a problem at all on her. And she can heal. She eliminates the need for a healer on your team. And honestly, I think Noelle's underrated, but I just don't like her design. I think the Battle Maid concept is really just kind of plain and boring, but she's a really valuable character at this point at C6, so smile tier. Jean definitely gained value once Corrosion entered the game, but I still think she's one of the less valuable animo characters. Her character design is great, and I'm a huge fan of her new outfit. I love the way it looks. It has less red, and they made her blue colors a bit more teal to match the animo element a bit more. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of it. So for the free outfit upgrade, I'll probably put her here too. Qiqi. Okay. I have not built my Qiqi, I have no Qiqi playing experience, but I was lucky enough to go all the way from week 1 of Genshin to Raiden's banner without a Qiqi. I got my first copy losing 50-50 on Raiden, but the fact that I went so far without getting her, I really appreciate. That being said, I will probably actually legitimately cry if I get one more copy of this stupid dead baby. Razor! Razor was my main originally. I was a big Razor fan. I've never been a big fan of the way his character looks, but I used to love JoJo, so his stand thing was super cool, and I love Claymore attacks, and that's all Razor does. However, as more and more good characters appear on my account, I have used Razor less and less, and honestly, I don't think I'm ever gonna use him again at this point. So while Razor would have been in my top tier a few months ago, I think he has to go in meh now. I changed my mind about Chongyun. He's going in piss tier, I just don't like him. Rosaria. This might be one of my hottest takes. Nothing about Rosaria's kit, just Rosaria's new outfit. I'm a huge fan of it. I love how much black is in the outfit, you know? Like, Rosaria had so much, like, I don't know what the color is, like burgundy or maroon or something, along with white. And so she had sort of too much going on, in my opinion. Now that her outfit is primarily black, I'm a huge fan of that. Although there is a noticeable cosmetic difference, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, I think it's worth it just because the color scheme is so much better. As far as her kit goes, I think it's really valuable that she's able to buff the crit rate of all other party members. There's no other character who can do that outside of, like, I believe the only other one is Geo Traveler, and I hate Traveler, so. The thing is, I just don't use her all that much anymore, especially now that I have Ganyu, and so I'm also gonna put her in the meh tier. My Sara rating is entirely based on the fact that I have her at C6. If I'm using an Electro character, which chances are I'm using an Electro character, I think it's my favorite element at this point. Purple and pink are my favorite colors, and I mean, I got my Raiden to C3, so it's really hard to get her out of my party, but C6 Sara just brings so much value. You know, that extra 60% crit rate, along with the fact that I can run her on Emblem of Severed Fate with Raiden on Emblem and Yae on Emblem, and then I just have 3 Electro Nukes that I can recharge by using the third one, Raiden's. It's a lot of fun. She brings a lot of value to my account, and I can't justify putting her below here. That being said, at C0 or even C1, I think, she's extremely clunky to use and not really worth using if you have a Bennett or even probably like any Claymore support wielding a Wolf's Gravestone. So, you know, if you don't have her at least C2, preferably C6, you're probably better off just using, like, someone with the Thrilling Tales, or of course, Bennett, you know? Sayu, I have at C0. I believe she's the only 4-star that I have at C0. And, you know, I'm gonna put her in Smile tier just because she's really just a discount Jean. No, I can't put her in Smile tier next to Jean. She's gotta be one below Jean. She'll be at meh. She doesn't bring a whole lot of value in comparison to Jean, but she brings so much fun value to your account. The ability to roll around at high speeds is so much fun, and paired with like a Xiangling ult and an EM Raiden or something like that, you can do a lot of overload damage just rolling around as Sayu. Shenhe, I skipped because when Shenhe came out, I didn't have Ganyu or Ayaka. Now I have Ganyu, and I honestly still don't think it's worth it for me to pull this character. Maybe if I had Ayaka, I would try, but I don't know. I'm not gonna put her in piss tier because she genuinely is one of the best looking characters in the game. She's super cool looking. I'll put her in meh, but I'm probably not gonna wish for her in the future. I'm not gonna cry if I get her though. Raiden, obvious one. Raiden is my favorite character in the game. I am so happy that I C3'd her, and my experience being able to C3 Raiden while only spending $45 while her banner was up, because I just saved for so long ahead of time, makes me really want to start skipping everyone and just waiting for Dendro, because when the Dendro Archon comes out, I'm probably gonna want to at least C2 them. Raiden just deals so much damage, almost always gets her ult back immediately after using it. Raiden just deals so much damage at C3, it's not even funny. It honestly is too good sometimes, and the only time I remove her from my party is when I want to take longer doing something. Sucrose. Sucrose is just about as useful as Kazuha. The fact that she's able to transfer Elemental Mastery without any constellations is really useful because, I mean, I don't think there's anyone else who can do that without constellations. Of course, Kazuha's ability to give elemental damage bonus of multiple elements at the same time is far more useful, so I don't think I can put her in nice actually, She fits better in Smile, probably. But something I thought was really interesting is that with Yae specifically, Sucrose can actually buff her E-skill damage more than Kazuha possibly can. Kazuha with 1000 elemental mastery can only give 40% damage bonus, but a Sucrose at C6 with 850 elemental mastery can give Yae just over 50% E-skill damage. And that's really, really cool. I don't think there's ever been a character that benefits more from Sucrose than Kazuha. That being said, she's super squishy. I feel like far too often when I pull this character out, she dies, like immediately. But she's definitely very valuable for a 4-star once you get her up in constellations. And the fact that she can swirl with her auto attacks is really cool. She can make for surprisingly good, like, on-field main DPS, at least with the right team. But overall, I'm not a big fan of her character in, like, appearance, voice, or personality. And she's also green, and I just really don't like green for some reason. I don't know how to explain it, it's just always been the case. But she has immense value, and so I'm putting her in Smile. Childe. I have skipped 3 of this man's banners, and I will skip any Childe banner in the future. That being said, while I would cry if I accidentally, was going for the weapon banner while Childe was up and wished on his banner and got him somehow, I would be pretty happy if I got a Childe losing a 50-50, you know? If he got added to the standard banner pulls, I think my opinion on him would change a lot. But as it stands, I am never wishing for this man. Thoma sucks. He just sucks, and I didn't have him for a long time because I skipped the Hutao rerun, but I got him on Yae's banner. In fact, I got him to C4, and I just can't find a team where this guy is useful. Like, if you have Zhongli, there is no point in using Thoma. In fact, I really prefer Diona because she just has better ability uptime. Her shield lasts longer, I'm pretty sure, and she can also heal. So I think Thoma, with his yellow locks, fits great into piss tier. Venti. Easy, tip-top tier. He's not as useful as Kazuha, but Venti is the reason I started playing this game, basically. I love this very, very feminine male aesthetic. Super big fan. Always have been. And when I first saw him and I thought he was a girl and I put it together that he was a dude, I immediately got hooked on this game. On top of that, I got him in my first 10 pull, so clearly me and Venti were meant to be, you know? Xiangling is probably the best pyro DPS in the game. Just like the fact that she can do so much damage from off field is amazing, but I don't like her character in design, voice, personality, everything. I don't know why, I'm just not a fan. And so I'm putting her in meh. I just really don't like her as a character. I don't even like Guoba, but she's extremely useful. Xiao is my boy. He was my second main DPS after Razor, and I love him and Venti together. That's like one of the 2 ships in the game that I actually support, and I don't know, I just love him. Literally all you need to build him at C0 is attack percent and crit stats. If you really wanted to, you could probably do really good damage using an attack goblet on Xiao, just because at level 10, he's increasing his damage percent by 97%. That's ridiculous. That's 2 whole Anemo damage goblets. So, being one of the easiest characters to build in the game, having a super fun Scrooge McDuck-ass playstyle, this guy performs so well on a team with Sucrose, Zhongli, and Bennett, using just an R1 Blackcliff pole and 2-piece Gladiators, 2-piece Shimenawas is good enough. You don't need the 2-piece Viridescent Venerers. It's entirely unnecessary. Xingqiu is just very, very good. I like his character design. I'm not the biggest fan of the bookworm archetype, but this guy with a sacrificial sword at R5 and an emblem set is just so valuable. And in fact, I'm moving Xiangling up. I was definitely a little salty. She's just too good to be in meh. Xinyan. I'm putting her in top tier and no one can stop me. I understand that she is one of the worst characters in the game because she has extremely split scaling, being a shielder scaling with defense, and then having her burst not take into account defense at all, and then also being a physical damage based character who interferes with your ability to superconduct. It's very unintuitive, but I love her personality and I love her character design so much. She has to be up here for me. She's gotten a surprising amount of playtime on my account just because I love Xinyan, and her English voice is definitely kinda cringe, but it's grown on me over time. I'm a big Xinyan enjoyer. I'm gonna wait to rank Yae and go straight to Yoimiya. I would actually really like to get a copy of Yoimiya eventually. She's probably my favorite Pyro DPS as far as 5 stars go. You know what, just as far as Pyro characters go, she's probably my favorite Pyro character. Yoimiya I definitely would have picked up if I wasn't saving my guarantee for the Raiden banner. And I mean, she continues to get better and better through indirect buffs through like every update. But she's just not that much of a must pull, and I don't have any weapons that would be really good on her, so I'm gonna put her in meh, actually. Yunjin has one of the best color schemes in the game. I used to be in choir in high school, and when we went on field trips to see operas, that was probably like a couple of the biggest highlights from my high school career. I love opera, and since Yunjin is an opera singer, even though I haven't built her, I don't use her, and I won't use her, I love the way she looks, and I love her character design, so she gets tip-top tier for me. Zhongli is an obvious one. He is the single most played character on my account. It's so hard to remove this man from my party, because he's just so convenient with his unbreakable shield. On top of that, his burst can petrify and deal a surprisingly decent amount of damage when you're just building him for shields, and he also gets his burst back really quick. You know, I'm sure nobody could have seen that coming, Zhongli in top tier, but genuinely I love his character design in all aspects, especially the voice, and you know, I thought he was worth it to pull before the buff. He was the first character I spent money on, and I'm extremely satisfied with him to this day. This one, Ayato, I'm not wishing for him. I don't want him. I'm gonna be honest. Nothing about him entices me all that much. From what I've seen, I'm sure he'll be quite good, but he's not gonna provide any value to me, as far as I can tell, and I'm not gonna wish for him. I'm not gonna wish for any of his reruns. I'd much rather get a character that I appreciate. He just looks so plain and boring, you know, like Ayaka to me. And in fact, Ayaka needs to be down here as well. And now, for the star of the show, Yae Miko, my new favorite character. Not because of her kit. In fact, her kit is sort of underwhelming, especially compared to Raiden. And especially compared to Raiden with Constellations. But I love this character so much, she gets a whole tier to herself. Yae having such a beautiful design and being really pink is so amazing. I've been waiting so long for a really pink character in this game. I was completely willing to spend the $100 that I did to guarantee I could get her. She's not that good of a damage dealer, especially at C0, and she has some major issues currently with her turret targeting and her burst cost, but I absolutely love this character. I love her personality, I love her design, and you know, she could be a brick wall. She could be the most boring character in the game, and the fact that she has long pink hair would have skyrocketed her to top tier anyway. The fact that there's more things that I like about her than just her pink hair makes her deserving of a whole pink tier. And so those are my opinions. I'm actually really curious. I don't remember where I ranked characters last time, but I'd assume it's pretty similar to this time. but that's definitely something I'm gonna check out. Speaking of checking things out, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. I don't make videos too often, but I try to release one every few days. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'd enjoy some of my others as well. If you made it all the way here to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But regardless, I've been Roman, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.